Hey, this is Troy Taylor with the Championship Football Coaches Clinic podcast, sponsored by Rack Coach and Sports Workbook. We have John Strollo. Coach Strollo is back. He's going to be talking about footwork today. Coach McNally is excited to hear Coach Strollo. And, Coach, how are you doing today? You said you were outside lifting weights in the rain.
I was, I can't lift weights in the house because I'm not allowed to. So, and I'm just trying to stay alive. So I'm out in the driveway. I wave to everybody as they walk by. And, if they have their dog, I have my, weights. So, that's it. And as you can see, I haven't made a lot of progress, but I'm a little overweight right now.
Coach. You look great.
Yeah. Well, I look better. Let's put it that way. Well, the last time we talked, we wanted to talk about the medicine balls, and then Jim was he wanted to do footwork, and I figured, well, I might as well do this one more time, and I'll do some footwork. I as usual, I wrote it all down, and I just like to sort of read it and then flesh it out, if that's okay.
Yeah, Coach.
Okay.
And you could put it in the comments again too. That was great, like you did last time.
That's what I had written down, so I figured I'd add it to the comments and just, why not?
Yeah, and I got to check my phone too, Coach, because I got people that would text me, asking me questions too. Because Steve, me and Steve, I had him on a couple different times, and from West Florida, and he's just impressive.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
His nephew at Bryant, I got to get him on too.
Yeah.
So many great coaches out there, Coach.
A lot of real smart dudes. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. It's good that you got all these guys. Well, anyway, so going to the footwork. So I wrote footwork presentation. I think I sent it to you, but I changed it a little bit even then. And I just want to start with a concept that I've been playing with in my head: open and closed. Okay, and it's the way you hold your feet. Jim says high and low, and to me, high is up here and low's down here. And I've always said C-side, hold your C-side leg back. But I think it makes more sense to have an open side and a closed side. So to me, the leg that's back, okay, is the open side, and the other leg's the closed side. And the whole idea is you can escape this way, and this way you have to rewind. So in other words, if I have an open leg here, I can escape that way. I can shuffle that way, and I'm open to my gap basically. Okay. When I'm closed and I have to rewind, I have to do it this way. But that's okay because I'm really concerned with this area anyway, and I want to make sure I can handle that. And we figured out that parallel feet was not real conducive to that. So we went open and closed. Of course, I just started calling it open and closed after 30 years, but I'll get to why I did it. Not at this second, but okay. Then I want to go over the coaching points for footwork that I talk about anyway. We said it last time. We stomp our feet. We don't glide. Okay. We make sure that we're contacting the ground hard and getting all our cleats in the ground. We don't do anything with a slide or anything like that. Everything's a stomp. Okay. We accelerate. We don't run. Okay. I don't say run off the ball or anything like that. I know a lot of coaches do say that, but I don't say it. I say that, I want to stay condensed. We condense to accelerate. We make sure, got our joints bent. We make sure that we're in tight. We've talked about that already. Here's two things that maybe you haven't heard me say. I used to say this when I was a coach. Move your feet before you move your weight. Okay. So, we're big on weight transfer. And if you move your weight before you move your feet, Okay, I don't know if you can. You're not going to be able to see my feet. I have to do that.
I can see them now, Coach.
Okay, so if I move my weight, I'm spilling out of whatever this stance is. I'm spilling like you're spilling a cup of coffee. Okay, I want to move my feet before I move my weight. I want to keep my weight somewhere between my feet. Once my weight is going outside of my base, I'm in trouble. So one of the things we say to kids all the time is move your feet before you move your weight. And another thing that we say quite a bit is step deep. Okay, and you know the drop step, all that stuff. I'm not sure where all that came from. You know, Jim started that way back when, but I think it was, I don't know who it was. Anyway, and then Paul Alexander and me, I've said it, brace, but basically when I'm talking to kids, I say, hey, make sure you step deep. And that means simply this: whatever your area is, whatever you have to take care of, make sure you're deep enough, at least you're stepping deep enough to put that defender that's a threat between your feet. Okay, if you step at him, he's going to edge you. Okay, you want to step deep enough to put him between your feet. Now, if a guy's right in front of you, you know, there's we'll get to that if he's right in front of you. That's a yellow light. You know, he's a two-gap guy. But we want to talk about stepping deep. And when we step deep, again, we don't want to spill. We don't want to spill out of the stance. Okay. All right. So that makes sense. Okay.
Jim Tim's got a question, Coach.
Sure. Go ahead.
He says, so your weight is in between while shifting.
While shifting. I don't understand what he's talking about.
Are you talking about shifting your weight or stepping, Jim Tim? From Rochester, New York, a graduate of East Stroudsburg. Stroudsburg.
Well, we talked about this. When your weight is ahead of your feet or outside your feet, that's where you're going. Now we call that a teeter. Okay, but we don't want to get caught teetering to the side. Okay, I don't know if that helps him.
He said the weight is in between while stepping. So in between, I guess, within your frame?
Yeah. Your weight, you got a center of gravity. Your weight stays between your feet.
Absolutely.
Okay? You don't, otherwise you're going to fall over. We don't want to fall over. Because when we fall over, then, you know, the back gets killed or the quarterback. So, all right. So going to the first thing that everybody seems to be interested in is scoot. Okay, and I talked about before, a guy named Rodney Austin that played for us at Elon invented it. I just copied him. Okay, I think he's got it. Okay, and starting out with cover, and this was something I got from Jim 100 years ago. Cover meant getting in front of a guy so that the back can't see him. Okay, that's just the way we talk about it. Everybody talks about it that I remember that. And it's we've gone hard with that. Okay. And Scooter specifically was designed to cover a 3 technique or a man that wasn't in front of us. How do I get in front of a man that's not in front of me? Okay. You know, a guy's right in front of me, it's okay. But if he's off to a side, how do I get in front of him and still stay square? And you know, everybody runs a C-gap run a different way. Some people try and take that 3 technique and run them and then wind it in behind them. We'll do that too, but we prefer that he helps us by running himself. What you got to worry about is a guy that lags you, okay? And a guy that's just in the gap and he's blowing the gap, he's going to knock you backwards. And what we found was by using scoot, even if we get knocked back a little bit, we got him hooked. And because we're not really running behind that guard, okay, we're in pretty good shape if we can get him covered. And I've seen guards get knocked back pretty good, and the back runs right by the guy. It's no big deal. Number one, the guy can't see the back. And number two, the back can't see the guy, so he doesn't care. He's just trying to get yards. So we kind of defined it as getting your helmet straight past the defender's helmet stripe. Okay. We used to say, get it on the number, that all that stuff. But just what I said to them was, you got to get your head a little bit further than he is. Okay. But you still got to get him somehow with two hands. All right. And it became very handy for when a back who was on the back side of me, basically, okay, or man, this camera screws me up. Okay, I'm stepping this way, and the back is coming from, I'm stepping this way, and the back's crossing my butt, okay? And what we said was, okay, if we can get in front of this guy, somehow get in front of him, the back can cross color if he wants to, and if the guy runs out, he'll wind it back, but we can tear this guy further than he wants to go, et cetera, and so on. Okay. So that kind of worked out pretty good. And what we said was brace both feet into the same bucket. So we talked about this last time. I don't want my weight to go backwards. Absolutely not. If my weight goes backwards, I go backwards. Okay? If I get hit, anyway. Okay, pass blocking, you're going backwards, whatever. Okay, what we want to do is step deep and step into that same bucket. Step deep and step in. I can't even do it without falling forward. Okay? I mean, it's just the way it is. Don't practice this without hitting something. I'm going to use this chair. I'm going to step deep. I can't even do it. Okay. I'm trying to do it, but I can't. I got to hit something. So step deep. I can't even do the footwork. Step deep, deep. And now I'm in the teeter, right? I'm in the teeter. When I step deep, of course, it's going to happen a lot faster than that. Deep, deep, teeter. And when I'm teetered, I'm a little longer. I'm not really condensed. And that's not a bad thing in this particular thing, because when you're a little longer, you fall a little slower. Just the way it is. A tree falls slowly. So that kind of worked out. And we took mixed hands. We added mixed hands to it. So what we figured, well, this guy he's in my gap. It's green light. We know that. Step deep, deep, and put that hand out and the other one under. So long and strong. Okay. And then we could get too strong if we got them. Okay. We could tear them. We could just put a little something on them. But here's the thing you don't want to do. You don't want to put your hand down the middle, because he's going to club you and just escape. You can't really put your hand on him initially. Don't do it. Put it past him. We talked about that last time, a stop sign. Put it past him. If he runs into it, great. It's like a clothesline. Okay? You want to be careful. Don't get caught holding. And if he runs, whatever he does, if he comes right at you, grab him. And if he cuts the other way, you pass him. We just switch hands. So he's passing me. He's going past my face. I just switch hands and go this way. And I feed him to the next guy. Okay, I stuff him to the next guy. And if you look at the Penn State stuff, you'll see that quite a bit. Okay, we're not going to use video right now. I'm going to try and keep this thing a little shorter than the normal 2.5 hours or whatever it is. But the key things in scoot, okay, we're trying to stay square. We're trying to get cover. Okay, when you're running C-gap out of the shotgun, okay, and C-gap out from home from the tailback, it's a little different play. Like that shotgun back can get in behind the three technique a little better than the deep tailback can. Okay, we never differentiated that, but I'm just telling you there is a difference. So if you're running a guy to the sideline in the deep tailback, that's where the scoot came in. We had to get that man covered to get outside the three technique. Okay. And that's just the way it is. Now we're not changing the back's aiming point. We're going to the butt of the ghost tight end, or the tight end if he's there. but we want to get in front of him if we can. And if he'll run, we'll tear him. If he lags, this is a big key. We're going to talk about this in a little bit. If he lags, the center can hammer his ass over. That's why we don't pierce in red light. So if the center's coming with it, can hammer him on or wind up grabbing him as I stuff him off. Okay, it's just a feel thing. And that's why we keep another footwork pattern alive for the center. And we'll talk about that in a second. So any questions on the scoot, Coach? Anything for no?
Nothing yet. I'm sure they'll be coming because we got 7 people in here with us.
Okay. Well, the big thing now, like I said, we use the mixed hands. We added that later, but you don't need to do it. And when you're practicing this stuff, okay, when you're practicing cover, you got to use a body, in my opinion. I've used the balls, the medicine balls. You know, we saw the video last time. You use a medicine ball, you got to move that guy. You got to make him attack the blocker. Okay, we don't really have this. We hadn't had the center use this. He doesn't cover. We don't like the fact that the center's up on. He's closer to the ball. It's harder for him to get in front of somebody who's not in front of him. We let him arc. We let him turn and arc if he has to do that. And that's why we really tried to get the C gap going, basically for the center.
Jim,
okay.
Tim's got a question, Coach.
Okay.
What is blocking point while tilting with the hands? So, I mean, I guess he's talking about where's your target.
What's tilting? He's got me. He's got me. Ask him what tilting is.
Are you talking about when he tears them, when he torques them?
Tearing them. Okay. And again, tearing is dragging a guy. He's dragging him. We're not necessarily throwing him. We're not torquing him necessarily. We're using torque to tear him. Okay. But we're trying to get him up. We're trying to get that armpit and the pec if we can get it. Okay. So the near armpit and the far pec is ideal. That's how when we practice it, when we tie up, that's how we do it. We tell the guy, get your hand in his armpit, okay, and get your other hand in his pec. And that's how we do it.
Yeah, he hasn't commented back, Coach. Just keep going.
Okay. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is a gallop, okay? And the gallop originally was for, it's kind of interesting. You know, we started using the word gallop because it's like a kid on a hobby horse, you know?
Yes. Keep that one foot in front.
Foot in front, a closed foot and an open foot, right? Okay. We want to keep that gallop. We want to keep that foot behind so that we can escape that way. Okay. And we realize that if a guy takes that long step, if he crosses over, he can't escape and he winds up rotating. Okay. So if I have a guy on my shoulder like this and I have to escape, maybe protect the gap, a guy spiking or a run through linebacker, I'm trying to get to the linebacker. I want to gallop. I want to keep a closed leg on him and an open leg away from him so that I can get away. Okay. Now, what we found was kind of funny. Stalking linebackers. Once you get up into a linebacker, gallop. And I went to go see a high school game one time. I was scouting, for Penn State, and I was watching them do tackling drills. And I'll be damned if they weren't galloping in open space tackles in the warmups. You know, they kept one leg open and one leg closed, and they knew that their help was coming from the closed leg. Just like our blocker, our partners come from the closed side, but they had to handle everything to the open side, and it was. I just sat there and laughed. I said, "Geez, these guys are unbelievable." It was great. It was a high school team from Connecticut of all places. You know, there's a lot of good ball in Connecticut, honestly. So we used two different. We talked about it last time. We used two different rides on this too. Okay, one is the thumb down, elbow up ride, and we're trying to get as much separation from that defender as possible so that he doesn't grab our shoulder pad. Okay, he's going to grab over here, yank us out of our shoes. we figure, well, we'll keep this leg back. We'll ride like that, okay, and we can escape. And the drill we do is we literally tie kids up. I'll have a guy tie up onto his chest against my forearm, and he'll push me. He'll try and push me off a line. I'm trying to hold space. I'm trying to stay on the line until I have to escape, okay? And he'll push me. And all I'll say is, okay, strike, and they'll start going. They'll gallop, okay? And it's kind of that's just what it looks. And I'll say release, and you have to burst out of there and release, and go to the linebacker. Now the other way we do it, we call it a heistman, and that's if a guy is a little bit loose, or maybe a C-gap run where we've got to really get something. We're really skipping, we're really arcing, we're separating ourselves from a guy trying to set him up for the tackle, and we'll hold that hand out, okay, to the closed side, and just keep him from. We're just trying to give a little presence. And remember, we're not going forward when we do this. We're shuffling away, we're skipping away into a gallop, or we're arcing away. We're arcing and getting back into a gallop. Once we get into red light, we square ourselves up. So we're moving from yellow into red, and we're going to stuff that man back with the hand. Okay, all this stuff you want to do it against a guy. Okay, you want that guy to put pressure, and then you want to give some sort of release command so that you know that if you're nice and condensed and you've got whatever it is you're holding him off with, he can't push you. You're in control. You're defining him, you're holding him back, and you're keeping your space big, okay? And you're helping the guy that's coming to you keep his space small. He's not chasing. So, okay, that's gallop. Any question? Okay, good.
No questions, Coach.
Okay. Skip. Now, we always use what I call arc on the backside, arc Apache. We talked about that in circle. And when I had this kid who was pretty good at Elon, a lot of this stuff came from Elon. And he was Ned, and he was a heck of an athlete. And we flip-flopped, and he was a quick tackle. And that was a good name for him because he was pretty damn quick. And I said to Ned, I said, look, we skip pool, we do all this stuff with the guards. If I'm a guard and I'm going power, I'm skipping, I'm stepping deep. I don't cross over. When we showed this to the guys at Penn State, that guy started crossing over. I don't like it. Okay. But we skip to pull. We get deep off that first skip step, and then we can come downhill like a fullback. I said, well, why don't we just Apache like that? And he said, all right, I'll try it. I said, okay, well, tell me how you like it. So it was just like this. It was just short of a crossover, and then we'd encircle. And what we found is we could stay square, but what you really want to do is this. Step deep and get the shoulder down on your Apache. You really want to do that. The reason we started staying square was this. Let's say I'm going to a guy that's yellow light, and he hugs up on the guard and stays with him. He doesn't, he runs with the guard, and I'm chasing him, and I can't help anybody behind me. I can't help anybody to my closed side. So what I want to do, okay, what we said was, well, stay square and then we can help. Okay, but I think you can just do the same thing. Step deep. You're in red light, square to air. That's it. As a matter of fact, you go this way. You step deep, okay, and just stay in the gallop. Can you see me? You just find the gallop. You stay open to your side and shut off the closed side. And what you're in red light, you can spin around probably and still help somebody. It's just if you're chasing something that there's no reason to chase it. So square up if you get into air. All right, go ahead. Somebody. Oh, okay.
No question, Coach.
That's you. Okay. All right. This is going to be a lot quicker. Okay. So to me, if I was going to skip now, and I don't like the center doing it. Okay. And the reason that we don't do it is, again, he's up on the ball. And what you got to understand is that defensive player, his feet are a certain distance from the line of scrimmage, especially like a tilt guy. Okay. So it's better for us to step deep. Okay. Keep this leg open and get an arc and turn our shoulders. If you have a hips guy like this, I hope this is helping. So I thought it was going to look better than this. They got these guys on the tilt. Well, their feet are almost on the line of scrimmage when they're tilted. So if you try to get, we would try to scoot if I were guard or tackle, but I try and get a center to do that, and I'm going to get blasted, and that guy's feet are already across the line of scrimmage. So what we said is just step deep, okay? Keep this open to the man, get the shoulder down, and then circle him. And that was why we did it that way. Okay. Matter of fact, a CFL guy said that there's an outfit up there now that they're playing tilt all the time, and he was having a hard time with that. So, you got to arc it. Just arc it. I mean, you'll get him, you hook him. He can't go backwards. He can only go across the line or across your face. That's it. If he goes across your face, square up, stuff him to the next guy. Keep open to your gap. Pretty simple. Okay. Now, what we do, we do use the skip in the stovepipe on A-gap runs. Okay. I basically realized that it's veer. Okay. So if you're running A-gap zone to the right, you're really running veer to the left. And your read spot is the left cheek of the center. We used to say, well, it's first we started out, we're running A-gap zone, right cheek, then we said middle of the butt, but it's really left cheek of the center. And that's wishbone veer. Okay. So we do let the tackle or the guard skip to what we call scrape paint. Okay. And that simply means this. Let's say this is the guard and I'm the tackle. Okay. And I got a pretty good split there, 2 foot. Okay. If I scoot, there's a little bit of space. We want to scrape paint and turn this thing into a double team. So the guard's got this guy, yellow light, something like that. We just skip, and then we can step wherever we want to, wherever we need to. We can step deep to cover if he's chipping, or we can step deep and scrape paint. Okay, just like two cars are in a parking lot and the space is too tight, we gotta scrape paint, scrape it off our hips. And I say, it's like this guy's your girlfriend. You're trying to put your arm around and walk down the hall. You used to get that in high school all the time, right? Public display of affection. If you can wrap your arm around them, you're in good shape. Now, we used to say face in the butt, put your face in that guy's butt, but I think that's chasing too much. So by skipping to cover, or basically to scrape paint. So if that guy's a 3 technique and the guard is really going to try and get off, and we don't actually stay with double teams. It's sort of like chip and get off. And then, okay. By the way, skipping, you want to open that stance up a little bit. You don't want to have a narrow stance. You want to have a pretty good stance so that you can skip. Okay. And you can either cow tip and skip, which we'll talk about in a second, or you can cover by stepping deep and skipping. And we went to shoulder roll there too. I've been talking shoulder roll for quite a few years now, and I got 1-2 guys doing it. One guy in Pennsylvania, he played for the state championship. He loves it. I don't know. I see different things on TV. Maybe people are doing it, but I'm sort of out of it. I don't coach. Anyway, that's where we use the skips. And whatever we're doing, skip, pull, anything, we always widen the stance out. Okay? I don't know if I'm doing too fast or not enough detail. Can you tell what I'm doing? I'm stiff as a board, and I just lifted too.
You're great, Coach.
Okay.
And I tell you, whenever I post your name on Facebook or Twitter, there's always people coming back saying they love you. I mean, Bryce Fritz, an O-line coach out of Richmond, Virginia. I don't know if you know Bryce, but I'm telling you, Coach, you got a following. You and Coach McNally.
Well, I need the love. I need the love.
Yeah, man. I'm just glad you're on here, Coach.
Well, this has been fun. I think I'm going to take a break though after this one.
Okay. Take a break for about a week.
Well, you've seen enough of me. I don't.
Coach, you come on and talk about whatever you want. Coach McNally is talking about coming and doing a clinic. He wants to come and do a clinic in Richmond, Virginia, in May. Well, Coach, so you're not that far from Richmond.
No,
Coach McNally's going to talk for 5 hours.
I can't talk for 5 hours. I don't know enough stuff to talk for 5 hours.
Well, you can have 1 hour, Coach.
Yeah, well,
you can have 1 hour. You can listen to Coach McNally for 4.
No, he's good. He'll do a good job. And if I come there, I'll be looking for hot dogs and stuff.
Hey, we'll have hot dogs, Coach. I take a bunch of hot dogs and put them in one of those. What are they, like a pressure cooker? It's like a slow cooker, pressure cooker. I cook about 50 at a time.
Well, my favorite thing is a pressure cooker. Not pressure, slow cooker. I got a piece of
Instapot. The Instapot thing, it's everything, Coach.
I just bought one at Ollie's for $20.
Man,
my wife, I kept saying, I want this. And she kept saying, no. Finally, I just said, the hell with it. I'm buying it. It's $20.
Instapot is the best, Coach. It's a slow cooker, it's a pressure cooker, and then an air fryer is also great.
Yeah, this thing's from Wuhan.
Yeah.
The Instapot's probably from Wuhan too. So
yeah.
And I don't mean to insult anybody that might be.
Hey, it's all good, Coach. Yeah. It's all good.
Well. Anyway, so going to the next thing, the cow tip. Okay, now Jim calls this. He calls this his gallop. When we talked about it, I said this is cow tip, and we kind of did this on the run too. Like I said before. We did it by accident. I had this 6'9" guy at Duke, and he was just doing it to the Virginia Tech 3 techniques and killing them with it. They were playing, yellow on the guards. And
How many years were you at Duke, Coach?
5, 6, and 7. I was only the line coach 6 and 7 though.
And you were there with Coach O'Brien?
Yeah, he was the coordinator on 5 and 6, and he took off on 7. And he went to the Patriots, and you know his story.
Yeah, how did he get hooked up with the Patriots, Coach? He just had people. He was known.
Well, in football, especially in college football, there are families of, like royalty. And he was sort of a little bit of he was in the George O'Leary family.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a New England guy, so I don't know, but I guess he kept bugging Belichick, and Belichick knows a lot of people, and Belichick finally said, "All right, come on, we're going to pay you. You're going to make coffee," and the next thing you know, he's a coordinator. Pretty good football coach. I mean, like I said before. Anyway, I don't want to get into football histories because McNally will get mad at me.
Yeah, he'll get mad at me too, Coach.
Go to the cow tip, okay? Again, what we're trying to do is stretch, okay? And this is where the gator step kind of came into play too. But when we cow tip, again, it's for a combo, okay? Let's say this chair is tied up with a guard, and we're trying to hammer him so that so we can hay bale him in. Okay. And I kind of gave up on this because the shoulder roll is a lot easier, but people still do it. I see it all the time. Again, we're going to skip into it. Jim steps. He doesn't skip. He leads steps. And I think the problem with that, in my mind, is number one, it's going to take an extra step to get there. Number two, if I step at this guy, if I step at the guard and he's not expecting it. You know, he's basically got this guy with two hands. I call it a dig now. He's got him with two hands. If I step at the guard to get this guy between my feet, I'm gonna knock the guard off. Even if I'm using my hands, I'm going to shut the guard off. Okay, so I want to stay away from him as much as I can with long arms, pushing him, shoving him, hammering him. Okay, but when I skip, I can adjust my foot to what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if he's in my gap, I can get my second step deep enough to get him between my feet, and maybe I can grab him and take him my way. If he's running with the guard, okay, well, I can get a little deeper there too and get square. And now I'm in red light. And if he is tied up with the guard, by skipping, it really doesn't hurt anything. And I get my nice lunge, my first baseman stretch, and I get him right. We usually get him in the hip and the ribs, or the hip and the shoulder pad. And again, it's not this, it's this, that. Okay, there's a fulcrum here. When I go to skip and lunge, that's my fulcrum, and I'm taking gravity and I'm making myself long and down. So I'm making myself hard for that defensive guy to resist, because my levers are short. Even though I got long arms, I'm not really pushing with my arms. I'm pushing with my legs. That's why we called it avalanche, because I'm going downhill.
And it makes sense with what you're saying, because
most everything I do makes sense. Except
but
sometimes when I get on that damn motorcycle or the hot rod, I do stupid stuff.
But it's kind of like you had your right foot up and you were blocking like a 3 technique to your right. And if you step with your back foot first, the contact is going to be made on the second step with your right foot. But if I step with my right foot, I mean, you would probably make contact on the second step, and that's the left step.
Well, you can't, you know, I used to say, George DeLeon, bless his soul, he passed away. He was a big guy for making contact on the second step. You can't control that. You're trying to do it.
Yeah.
But you can't control it. But if you can get condensed on that second step, and if you can get get that man to where you have an advantage, to where you got him no matter what he did, I think it's better than doing it on the third step. I say, it's 1, 2, 3 versus 1, 2. And again, the thing we liked about the skip, and I measured it out. I said, if I bring this foot here, I'm traveling further
on the second step.
On the second step, I got it. It's just geometry. It's no big deal. So that was why we did it with the skip, and we call it cow tip now. So we did it against Virginia Tech, and then we were playing Alabama, and they had a two gap outfit, and they had a nose guard. And I had this little center. He was a tough little son of a gun, Matt Rumsey, but their nose guard was going to kill him. They murdered Florida the week before they played us, and I was just crying and carrying on. I didn't want to go to the game, and I thought we were going to lose our quarterback and all this other stuff. So I begged Billy to just run the ball, and we did. we rushed for about 250. I think we fumbled on the goal line going in. We would have beat them, but we hammered that. And cow tipped in. As a matter of fact, I called it cow tip then. It was 2006. And again, cow tip is like, what's that guy? The Saturday Night Live guy. And he had the movie. He's a big fat guy. And
Chris Farley.
Yeah. Did he pass away?
Yeah, Coach.
Okay. Well, I got a meme of him. I got a meme of him cow tipping. He's in a 3-point stance. He's cow tipping. So when I got that, and I think we were doing it before he did it in that movie, but that's it, cow tip. So we knocked by cow tipping, we defined that nose. We defined him. We knocked him from a 2-gap or a yellow light into the center's green light, and again that gave the back a chance to wind it or do whatever, And it also breaks that defense. he's tied up, four-legged animal. He's tied up like this with that center, and all of a sudden he gets blacked by it. And it doesn't take much. It's just okay. And he's all of a sudden and then that center feels it and just starts running with him, tearing him. It's it's pretty easy stuff. We did this hay bale thing, and again, we're taking, it's sort of a tear, but we didn't want to really throw. We wanted to carry him. Because we didn't want to throw him and then have him just standing there. We wanted to carry him. And even so I'm the guard, let's say, and the tackle's coming here to cow tip, and I got two hands on this guy. I got him like he's a bale of hay. Okay. And literally I said, well, it's like dumping a garbage pail. That's what you want to do. And you got him here. Now, the reason we stopped doing it, number one, it was labor intensive. Number two, I was always scared of the run through. Like we had to be, in order to do it, here was our closed leg. The helper was coming from this side, the closed leg, but we were tied up with this dude. Okay. And, we had to grab it. Even though we had our eyes and we had an open leg to the gap, I was always worried about escaping or getting grabbed and couldn't get the run through. And, you say, well, the backer runs through, the three's going to play out. Well, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he just grabs you because they know that what you're doing. So we just went back to the shoulder roll and chip, okay, the shoulder chip to protect our chest, and we give the tackle more to hit. But then now the tackle had to get on. We had to make sure not to shut the tackle off. But it worked pretty good. We got a lot of punch. Anyway, going back to the cow tip, adjusting the depth was the part that I liked the best. And then we eventually saw that avalanche. I had a 350-pound guard at Ball State. When he would do that, it was just like molasses coming up and just maul you. And it was pretty good. Okay. And again, when we cow tip with long arms, we're not going to hit our partner. It's easier to do. You don't want to mire your head in. You don't want to mire your shoulder in. Okay. Unless the guy gives you access because he's on half a man, then you got a chance to do that. If he's on a full man, you don't want to hit him. So you don't want to mire him. You don't want to mire in with that shoulder or the head. If you go in there with the head, you're probably going to close your leg anyway. You don't want to do that. If you're cow tipping, okay, you want to keep this leg open and just follow through because you're working. If you send this guy in, you're looking for linebackers. Okay. And we always let the linebackers come to us. We never chase linebackers. If I said to that tackle, you got the backside backer, okay, he sees the front backer and chases him, the backside backer hits the back. Okay, I just say, look, you stay right there. I don't care what you see. You go to that spot. And if you go to that spot and the guy makes a tackle, I get fired. But if you chase that front side linebacker, you're getting fired. And that's just the way we did it. Anyway, the next thing I want to talk about is the arc step. And I did this like forever. Okay. When we were at Massachusetts, I had this guy, Andy LeBlanc, and he looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know if you know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, but
I do. I think I even remember Andy LeBlanc. Did he play pro ball or no?
I don't think so. There was some LeBlancs, but this kid was he was at UMass. He was about 6'4", about 260, just rocked up. Not the kind of body type that I look for at center. I look for a short, runty dude with long arms and short legs and all that. And
why is that? Because he's more compressed,
condensed,
condensed
and quicker. Remember, the center doesn't have a chance to, he doesn't have a chance to build up momentum. Okay, momentum isn't a force. Momentum is mass times velocity. I remember that one now. It takes force to build momentum, but you need velocity. You need space. He doesn't have any space. Okay, so I like shorter guys. I like Jeff Saturday type guys. 6'1", whatever, short guys with long arms. When we played at Boston College, my friend Don Masek, who played like 13 years for the Chargers, he was about 6'2", and he looked like a gorilla. His knuckles dragged, and he just long arms. He could.
How can
He
you
was
test
doing
a
all
guy?
this stuff, huh?
How can you test a guy to see how long his arms are? You look on the
You
film, and you
just measure.
measure them.
Yeah, we used to measure tip to tip. You don't want to do that. You want to like measure from the armpit out, because tip to tip you might have really wide shoulders or really narrow shoulders but long arms. So I don't know how the pros do it, but we measure it from here. We wanted to see how long your arm is, and from arm to fingertip.
What about when you're out recruiting in the school? Could you get him to put his arm out and you put your arm out, or can you just tell?
I don't remember me ever doing it in the school. I would just eyeball them. But once we got them on campus, but you can height and weight a guy. You can height and weight a guy in school. You just can't make. I don't know what you can do now. You might be able to do push-ups, but back then you could height and weight him. It had to be a contact period. What I would do, and I'm telling tales out of school, I would have the kids stand next to me when we started to get these smartphones.
Yeah.
I'd have them stand next to me and take a picture. And if he was taller than me, I'd say, well, he's taller than me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't try to guess. If you don't measure the kid, you don't know how tall he is. You have no idea. If you don't measure his arm length, you don't care. But it wouldn't be a deal breaker, but it was something I like to know. How long are his arms? You got a good player, or you're in high school and he's the only player you got that's a center. He's got short arms, too big.
Yeah.
But again, that's a lot of this stuff was developed for the center and his particular problems. Throwing the scoot and stuff like that. We didn't use it for the center, but throwing your feet back. This guy Don Masek, I can still remember him doing it against nose guards. This was 1976 or something, 75 or something like that. So, to me, anyway, getting back to this guy, Andy LeBlanc, and we ran toss sweep getting off the bus. And we kind of figured this out. Andy could arc block. I showed him how it was, my concept of the arc block. And here's basically what it is. I'm the center. There's a 3 technique. Now we'd say, okay, yellow light, but this kid was so athletic. And I had another guy, Damian Wroblewski, who's at James Madison, and he was like a stocky dude. He could do this. He could bend in his hips. We'd say, okay, step deep. Okay, keep open to the man. Roll the shoulder down. And this was way back when. Now, don't get can opener. We talked about this last time. We don't want to step deep and cross over, because once we close, it's hard to Apache. Once we close on the man, he'll knock us over. We have no brace. Okay, so we want to stay open, so it's just short of a crossover. It's sort of like a gallop. And once you got leverage and get that shoulder down, just walk right around them. And Andy could do that, and Robo could do that to a 3 technique. And now we'd have the tackle, instead of pin and pull, instead of him pinning the 3, he'd put his hands on the 3. Okay, so he was working with the center, and the guard was pulling. Well, I'll be damned, that was great stuff. And we called it arc block. And I'll never get rid of it. Actually, it doesn't matter what I do because I'm not coaching. But again, you're trying to encircle. You're stepping deep. You're rolling the shoulder down so you don't get can opener. Okay, you keep that shoulder up. You'll get flipped. It'll be just like a tire. He'll flip you like a tire. I don't care what you're doing with your feet. Okay, keep your foot open to the defender, short of a crossover. Okay, you got to take 2. You got to take steps. You can't just kind of like that. You got to take a step, but step deep and right here, and then take another one. Okay. what it does is it gets your headgear and pads deeper. So if this man's a tilt, all he has to do is step. One step, he's across the line of scrimmage. It's not like if you got a square defensive tackle, his feet are way back there. Okay, and if he's one of these long dudes, you get a short, stubby guy. He's got his feet pretty close. He ain't going nowhere without his feet. When he's tilted like that, his feet are right on the line of scrimmage. He takes one little step, he's across. He's into the neutral zone. So step deep, get the shoulder down, keep open, get around him. He'll come across, but he can't back up. Can't do it. He'll go this way, but you're running wide enough, either C gap or a toss sweep or something like that, to where if he goes, you square up, square to air, stuff him to the next guy, and hope for the best. So that was the arc block, and like I said, I'll never get rid of the arc block. Now, actually, I will, because the only person I can do it with is cooking in there. So I put a piece of pork in the crock pot, and it smells pretty good. I browned it up a little bit. But now we came up with this thing is new, and I've talked about it quite a bit on my videos, my recent videos. We did it in at Lewisburg when I was junior college. I had these big, tall dudes, and they're having a hell of a time getting down, and they would stand up and they get yacked into the chest and all that other stuff. And I said, okay, look, I can get one shoulder lower than I can get two shoulders. Okay, and I mean, just think about it. I'm trying to get two shoulders low. I can get one low, much lower. Okay. So I said, okay, look, this is what I want you to do. And it's kind of the dead opposite of what I was saying before. But I'm going to take that deep step as deep as I have to take it for a threat. Okay. So maybe not that deep. Okay. Depends on what the play is, but I'm not going to get into that right now. We're going to be like an alligator with short arms and short legs. Okay. And we're stepping, and now we've got that open side. And what we're going to do is that. Okay. We're going to rock back into a chip and rock it. Okay. Now, this is for the inside half of a double team. Notice I'm leaving half the defender. Okay, I'm not shutting the tackle off. I say I'm a guard. Okay, and I'm trying to double team this guy. Let's say he's a 3 technique, and I want to double team him. And I'm taking my gator step, and I'm coming back with the shoulder roll. Okay, and we did it at Ball State. We did it against Texas A&M. Worked great. But I was too smart. Okay, so take the gator step. Now I'm open to my gap. The second step, I'm open to my gap. Right? And I've given the tackle access, and I've turned into a rock now. Just like that avalanche thing, I am down on that. My weight's in between my feet, but it's on that front leg. And I am ready to go. And if the guy's I don't know what he's got to do to grab me. He might grab my near shoulder, but I can rip it off. Okay, so the gator idea was down into the ground like an alligator. Did I send you that thing last night? My wife found it on Instagram. An alligator was chasing a dude. You see that thing, man? And, we talked about dragging the tail and all that. So we're making short legs. We're stepping deep, but we're not stepping real deep. Okay, now if I got a threat, I'm stepping as deep as the threat. If we're running power and there's a nose, I'm stepping deep. Okay, so that was pretty good for the chip. And what we found out that if we wanted to do something like a hay bale, okay, let's say I'm on the front side of A-gap zone, okay, and I got a yellow, I got a defensive tackle right in front of me, okay, we didn't use the shoulder roll. We'd gator step looking for the gap. We'd be looking for the end spike, okay. We're, of course, talking, there's a press, there's blitz, there's safety down, something like that. We're expecting it. And if it isn't there, when we go like this, we're going to grab with both hands. But we're initially start now with the rolled shoulder, and then we're going to come back and grab, and guess what I'm in? Open leg to my gap. And now, let's say I'm the guard, the center's going to come over, and he's going to hammer. So it turns into a hay bale on the run. Okay? If the man goes away from me, I stuff him. If he goes to my gap, I grab him anyway. But now we call this a dig. I'm taking a gator step, and I'm digging him out. I'm making him this way. It's sort of like we used to do the A-gap stuff. We'd wrong foot it just to be able to get the center up on the linebacker. And that wrong foot stuff is stupid. I mean, I did it, so I was stupid. We'd step with the wrong foot. Here comes a spike. There's all kinds of. So I said, well, let's do that. We're going to delay this thing. He might come right across, but he's going to run into a low shoulder. And boom, we grab him. The center comes and whacks him. Tackle's doing the exact same thing. I'm the tackle. I got a linebacker out there. Okay. He presses up. I got to look at him. I got to step to him. And if the guy spikes in the back or hits it, I got to grab the backer. Well, the guard, he's going to grab the end. Center's going to grab the tackle. Hopefully, the inside backer will run out of there. And if we're running into a press and roll and we don't have enough blockers, it's our fault anyway. But that guy will run. Okay, but if not, I'm going to dig that end. I'm going to dig him. So if the guard does escape, he gets the fold over linebacker. If I go chasing that linebacker and the end comes with me, there's gaping holes. I remember West Virginia a couple of years ago. They would just bang a right, and everybody would run, and there'd be gaping holes. But if they don't run, if they lag, they get tackled. It's TFL. So we said, how can we? And we did it on pass anyway. So, we're setting outside backer, and the defensive end is on our outside shoulder. We're going to sit this way and keep our hands on this guy and look for the linebacker. And if the linebacker cops, we grab him. That lets the guard rewind. It lets the center rewind, and everybody's happy. If the guy hits at the end spike, well, the guard's going to pick him up. I got the outside backer. That's my guy anyway. So we said, well, let's do it on the run. And it worked fine because of the gator step and because of what we're doing with our weight. Okay? Now, when we take that step, we're transferring the weight, okay? When we scoot, we're not transferring the weight to that foot. We're just moving the foot, and the weight is going to stay ahead of us, okay? We're moving the foot. We're moving it. Let me do it like this. I'm getting warmed up now. We move this foot. I got to do it fast. We go, and everything is weight forward, teeter, like a tree. We're going to fall forward. When we're doing this, we want to take our weight and put it inside the closed leg, between our feet with the shoulder down. Okay? And then we can boom, and guess what? Now we're open. This leg's open, this leg's closed. It worked pretty good. When I coached at Lewisburg Junior College, we played teams like Nassau and, was there some team out of Brooklyn? They had better players they had as good players as anybody. I mean, especially the defensive linemen. They were freaking animals. I mean, they were in college for a reason. They didn't have grades. The best kid I had at Lewisburg could have played for anybody. He went, I don't even know if he graduated. He went down to Kaiser. He was an All-American his first year. Then he's gotten a little scam and a little scuffle and had to leave. But he was like 6'6" and 350 pounds. He was a beast. So if it worked for those guys, I think it might work for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's the gator step. I don't have much left to go, so this time it won't be so bad. So we have chip with one arm, keeping the other arm free to the open leg. Okay, once again, chip, keeping one arm free to the open leg, and dig. And the thing about dig is when we go here, we're going to come back and put the man between our feet. okay? But we're still open to our gap. Instead of that wrong foot stuff where we're closed to our gap, we're getting murdered. So anyway, that's it, okay? Now, when in red light, now this is really, really something that we needed for C gap. Okay, let's say I'm the right guard and I'm going that way. And I got a 5 technique or a jet or something out on that tackle. Okay, really, he's out there. There's no press. There's nothing going on. And I got maybe a shaded nose, okay? And I got just a linebacker. And I'm pretty sure, we pointed to him and I got him. And, it's 4 down and there's the point. And I'm the bubble, so I got him, okay? So we shuffled. And again, we're stepping deep. We're not transferring our weight. We're keeping our weight. It's very similar to post stagger. We're keeping our weight on the inside leg, and we're just moving like this. We're moving laterally. Okay, we're trying to pick up our feet. We're not turning. We're square because we're in air. We're in air, and we're keeping an open leg to our gap. Okay, we call this a shuffle. We don't want to shuffle parallel because we don't have an open leg. We get knocked around. Okay, we want to make sure that we got an open leg to our gap. If the 5 spikes, we have to grab them. We have to transition into a scoot. If the 5 doesn't spike, we're going to take 1, 2, and no more than 3. Okay, and then we're going to look for work. Now, the work is probably our linebacker. Now, if the linebacker hits it right away, we take them. If the 5 hits it right away, we take them. But what we started to do is this. Boom, 5, know there's a shade, come back and rewind and kip that crap, knock the crap out of that shade, okay? So it'd be boom. Guess what we're in? The rock, chipping, and then go back into the shuffle and go get the linebacker. We would deplete, not we, my guys would deplete those dudes. And the nose guards would just like crumble. They got hit so hard. And it wasn't that they were hitting them. It was that the nose was running into a rock. He was running into a rock. And that idea of keeping an open leg and making yourself into a rock, and we called that chip, just like we used with the shoulder roll, but it was square because it's red light. Square to air, red light. I have nobody I can touch without taking a step. Red light. That's the end of that. Now, okay, that when you're in red light, we're waiting for something. And again, if it's A gap or something fast, we're probably going to take no more than 1 shuffle step. If it's C gap, we're going to stretch that thing out, okay? But we started right away, started to realize that that the defenses, we could come back and hit that nose and come right back. And if we didn't pierce, in other words, when you get guys that just run off the ball, like, okay, I got the linebacker, I know it, I'll step check the end, and then I go get the linebacker. Well, if the linebacker back gaps, you got him, but here comes the nose making the tackle in the backfield. If the linebacker runs over the top, you're chasing him, you're sniffing. The way we did it was, okay, the linebacker's going to go over the top. I'm going to turn and hammer that defensive end. I'm going to hammer him, not with my shoulders. I'm going to hammer him, and I'm going to knock him so wide that the back and the linebacker have to come back to me. Okay, I'm making the hole here. Linebacker, go ahead. You want to run? Go ahead. Here comes the back. And all we had to do was handle the nose. Okay? If we saw the defensive end go and we did that, and then we hammered, that was fine. We get there and hammer. It was no problem. But if we crossed the line of scrimmage and got into the intersection, we might get clipped. We were playing Davidson one time at Elon, and I couldn't get the damn guard to slow down. I said, look, what are you chasing the linebacker for? He said, you don't know anything. I said, no, really, I do. I know some things. I said, this is what's going to happen. You're going to chase him, and the outside backer is going to loop and hit the back in the backfield. Well, that happened 6-8 times. And I said, what are we doing, guys? We're, we were playing Maine. We were playing Montana. I said to the center, look, you stay there, stay on the line, red light, stay on the line. You're going to help the guard. If the front side backer hits it, you'll pick him up. Okay. But if you all of a sudden take off and go for the backer and the front side backer hits it, or you take off for the front backer and the backside backer hits it, we're going to get TFL. Well, the first play of the game, I don't remember which backer, but the center went smoking out of there, and the backer hit us in the backfield. After that, I had him. I owned the kid. He'd do anything I tell him, and he got everybody else to do it. So, there was a reason for it. Sometimes it looks soft. I don't care, because we don't get TFL'd. We don't get TFL'd. Someone's got to fall down for us to get TFL'd, and it was worth it to me, and it's just a little bit of work. Okay, so again, we stomp, we stay square to air, no running, no nothing, but you got to have a clock. Okay, you got to have a clock in your head. All right, pass set. We talk all this run stuff. The pass set, we just want an open leg to our guy, or an open leg to our gap. So if I have this gap, I want an open leg here. Okay. If I have this guy and he's here, I want an open leg here. If he's here, I want an open leg here. That's what I want. Okay. We don't want to reach with the far arm. Okay. So if I have a guy here and I open leg and I do that, I'm turned. I'm going to turn. I want to do, it's just the same as scoop, but we don't scoop with the other foot. We just open the leg and put the hand not on him, because if you put it on him, he's going to chop you. You're going right down the middle. He's going to bust that leg, and you can't do anything about it. We put it out there. It's a stop sign. If he runs into it, it's a clothesline. And if he comes to us, we just turn it into two grabs. If he cuts away from us, we just, guess what? We just switch legs. Now we have a clothesline here, a stop sign here, and a strong arm here. So strong arm, long arm. If the man jets, there's going to be a point where we're going to put the inside arm in. And when we do, we got to throw them. And we throw guys and pass. Guards, to keep from throwing them into the quarterback, they always set wider and shallower. Tackles always set deeper and tighter. So if I got a 3 technique and I'm a guard, I'm going to sit. I'm almost going to cover him. Okay? I'm going to go long arm unless he's yellow. And if he's my man, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to do what we call a short set. And I learned this from Jim. Okay, I got a two-gap defender on me. I'm going to take away the inside. Then I'm going to open to the outside. That's it. If he's inside me, I'm going to open to the inside. That's it. That's pass set. Of course, we want to be condensed. I don't buy the striking stuff as much as I used to. If the man stands up, strike him, hit him in the chest. We know that, we learned that if a man stands up and we hit him with one hand, it's way better than two, because we can, woo.
Yes.
We hit him like okay, great. Woo. We pull this arm back. Okay. Woo. We're in great shape.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that. I mean, I used to be, two-hand punch, but I mean, why don't boxers box like that then?
No, you just stole my line. Boxers don't box. Nobody. Yeah. No, there's only two sports. There's only two sports that play with their hands parallel: Olympic weightlifting and some offensive line coaches. Everybody else has got one hand in front of the other. That was the original long arm, strong arm concept. Everybody played. Now, guy's right in front of me and he's bull rushing me. I ain't striking him. I'm grabbing him. I'm trying to flip him up, and I don't hop. I step. I mud walk back. I think hopping, when you disengage from the ground and he's got enough momentum, he'll walk you right back. You got to really throw those legs back, and if he pushes and pulls, he might fall. So we're trying to flip him up, and we're just mud walking back. We're just trying to slow him down. To me, if they bull rush every down, I'd be happy. Okay, it's those jets and twists that I don't like.
Yeah, and I mean, Coach McNally made a good point. I mean, I watch all this, like, I call it 7-on-7 pass pro, these camps these kids go to. And I mean, it's pretty much no pads, and guys are just bull rushing every single play with no pads on. And Coach McNally, what is it called where you throw them on their face? Like, I was like, man, that is a great move. Like, more people should use that.
Well, again, this is something that's interesting. Okay. So here's one hand, here's two hands, here's three hands, here's three hands. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to take my hands off the guy, guy's bull rushing me, I'm going to chop him. I gotta stop him. I can't let him. I ain't chopping nobody if I'm getting run off the ball. So I gotta condense. I gotta harden up. I gotta be a four-legged animal. And if he puts his hands and he's pushing me, and I'm a four-legged animal and I'm just mud walking, yeah, I can take my hands off and I can chop. I can do this. I can do all that stuff. But if I don't stabilize and I take my hands off, if I don't stabilize, if I don't reduce his power, reduce his force, reduce his momentum by adding mine, he's gonna run me, bro. If I take my hands off, he's gonna run me over. You watch a lot of these guys; they play really high. And when I say condense, pass block, I don't know. Is a kid comfortable like that? Play him like that. Does he have to be like that? Play him like that. Just don't play like this. You can do whatever you want with that. If you're playing like this, you're going to get pushed. There's a boxing video. As a boxing coach, he's talking to the boxer, and he says, look, you get in the pocket. Don't get pushed around. You do this, you're going to get pushed around, and you won't be able to punch. You do this, you're in the pocket. You've condensed. You've made your levers shorter. You still got the long arms, but it's harder for him to push you. It's harder for him to push you. And that's a big deal. So that's what we started doing. Anyway, well, that's past that. Now, I got one more thing. A couple of things I can talk about. Okay, down block. Okay. No, I'm thinking about down
I know
block.
it's just Coach McNally, man, and these down blocks. Like, I remember he said one time I could talk 6 hours on a down block. You know, there's so many different ways to do it, and keep your shoulders squares, don't turn. And people are saying on Twitter, like, well, Coach, you posted this, GT counter, and, the guys they're turning their shoulders when they're going down on a bear front. I mean, I guess you have to. I buy turning the shoulders, at least initially. But remember, when we're talking down block, we're talking man block. Okay, when we're doing a combo or a veer, we don't give a shit where the man goes. We're veering. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of interesting. A lot of these teams that are playing a zero nose and 2 4 eyes, you watch those tackles get stoned. I mean, they can't move the guys because they're man blocking. And and if it's toss, great. If it's pin and pull sweep, great. But if you're trying to run the ball at that tackle, he's getting stoned. So we don't do that. But when we're down blocking, we have leverage. I used to call it a leverage block. Leverage means I have advantage on him. So I'm the right tackle, and I got a guy on the guard, and the guard's pulling. I'm a man blocking. Okay. And, we would say center arc, and we'll take his man. He'll take ours. We'll take his and give him a little help. I talked about that already. But when you're down blocking, you're moving to the next blocker. It's like a gator step, but it's a man. It's not a gap. Step deep enough to put the man between your feet. I think that's important. Okay. Put the clothesline out. Okay. So the near hand, I'm stepping down to this dude right here. Okay. I don't want to step down the middle of him because he'll jet on me. Okay. I got to step deep enough to put him between my feet. I want to put my clothesline in front of him. I want to take this hand, the strong hand,
and put it somewhere on the side of his body. Okay. Again, I can't do it standing up. I got to step deep enough. I got to get nice and low. I put the clothesline in, and I jam that thing into his ribs. If I can get him in the ribs or get him in the hip, and that's what I do. And when you do that, okay, you've got an angle on the guy. You've got an angular momentum. Now, when the guard pulls, he'll probably chase the guard, so it won't be like he's motionless or he's tied up in a four-legged animal with the guard. But it's enough of a hesitation. If he's jetting across the line, all you got to do is keep him from picking anybody off. You don't care how deep he gets. You just don't want him to penetrate where he picks anybody off. So you get him with the clothesline and jam that arm in there. What you want to be is when he crosses your face. And that second step is it adjusts. Okay. And you can kind of tell. They look at the guards. They know. They'll talk about, they'll say some stuff. But you want to get that second step and make sure that he is between your feet. We're not looking for closed or open. This is an open step, no doubt about it. But we want to get that man between our feet because he's our guy. He's our guy. Okay. And when you're down blocking in a combo, it's a whole different thing. It's not a guy, it's a gap. Okay. So to me, the fact that you're putting that strong arm in later, and that's the one that's really applying the blow. If he chases the guard, he might get it right in the gut. He might get whacked. But you've got to be able to. Now you have to run backwards. Okay. Yeah, and we talked about cutting, grounding the hands and reversing the hips and all that other stuff. But they get up and run. So we just say, hey, look, here's the deal. He's your guy. Trap him with that outside arm. That's your strong arm. It's coming second. It's not coming first. You're going with your arms, okay, not your head. He lined up blocked. You don't have to. You just keep him right there, and he's blocked. He's done. That's the end of that. We're running pin and pull. We win. If you're running gap scheme where you're running a counter or something like that, you better get movement on that dude. That's that. Now we're using the shoulder roll, the chips, all that stuff. You got to punch that dude. But on a sweep, you don't need to. And to me, that's the down block, the pin. I guess you could call it a pin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, going to the 4-eye subject, this is an interesting thing. Now, I watched a Big Ten team this year killing everybody. They were killing everybody. And they get into it was either the Big Ten championship or it was Michigan. Okay, I might as well say it. I think that guy's a hell of a football coach. Whoever they were playing for the Big Ten championship was playing them. It was either Big Ten or their bowl game. Was playing them in a 4-eye, and they were trying to man block that dude. I don't know if we're running pin and pull. Absolutely, man block him, hook him. He's dead. He's gone. Okay, if we're running zone, okay, take your step and chip him and let the guard come get him. But if you're running gap scheme and you get stoned, the back can't go in and he can't go out. Now, you run bounces or something like that and then hook him. That's a hook man, but now you got problems with run-throughs. So to me, don't block man, okay? Block veer. Roll, take the gator step. Roll his shoulder down. If the man goes in, kill him. If he goes out, square up because you're square to air and someone else will get him. If he comes straight across and he tries to lag you to the inside, you roll that shoulder and you just square up. You open that and just push his inside shoulder up. Okay. You're fighting to the linebacker. You're not blocking this guy. He's trying to block you and you're not letting him. Okay. He's got to stop you. And if you've got a good zone read quarterback and you can teach him to read the combination of the end and the linebacker, you tell that tackle, look, you have to block one of these guys, but you're going for the linebacker. If that linebacker goes over the top, put the brakes on and choke that freaking defensive end out. Dig him. Okay. But if not, if you see the linebacker, fight through. Don't escape. Don't go sprinting out of there. Okay, gallop in. Okay, keep this leg closed and gallop inside. Okay, and fight this man off, but don't block him because he's gonna stone you. He's gonna stone you, and by rolling that shoulder and using that chip, you'll pry him open. Okay, you'll probably if the linebacker steps up and you got the open leg, you got to escape. If he grabs you, it's your fault. If you keep that shoulder down, he won't be able to grab this shoulder. And at least you can reach out and touch that guy and maybe lay him out. But that, you got to think of that 4-eye as a 3 technique on gap scheme, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what I think. And of course, if you got a quarterback that can read that out, okay, and maybe pitch off the outside backer, or we say, my answer was, look, I'm going to try and get to the linebacker. I'm going to get the sniffer to block the end, and we'll read the outside backer. That works too, you know. And to me, that was a big deal. The 4-eye watching. I remember Ohio State was playing defense, and maybe it was a national championship, and they were playing with two eyes and 2-4 techniques. And it was Oregon, I think, maybe. I don't know who it was. It was somebody good, somebody really good with a good running game. And they just kept making that back spit. They were playing a 4-1 box, and they were making that back spit because those defensive ends were 2-gapping the tackles. And the back was spitting to the unblocked outside backer, getting tackled all day, instead of ripping yards. So you gotta give the kid a chance, and if you could man block, if you could just man block, and I've seen guys man block. You run in the bounce counter or something like that, like the Eagles do, or everybody in the NFL is doing it right now. The C-gap counter, they just pin that guy and go. But that's a different play. It's not up in it. It's outside. It's just like another sweep. He's your man, block him. And I know this: if you can get that guy latched onto you and dragging his ass, he's going backwards, and there's all kinds of space in there. That back will just hug those double teams and stay right with it. If it's a gap zone, either backside of zone or front side of gap. So that's the 4-eye thing. Pass blocking. If we gave up on, I gave up on duels and all that other shit. We said we got a 4-eye. We're going to treat that like 4 down. We're going to let the guard block the 4-eye. We'll handle the linebacker with somebody else. We're going to set the outside backer. And if the outside backer doesn't hit it, we'll rewind and grab the 4-eye, and now the guard's free. So we were calling that 5 down. Matter of fact, we coded it like Jim has a thing called Gilligan, like centers on an island against true 5 down.
Yeah.
We had Gilligan for the true 5 down where the guard's covered, centering the guards, or a mugger, And then we had like Hawaii was a 3 down that we're going to treat like a 5 down. And we stopped 3 down pass set. We don't want to duel. I don't want to duel. So the guard would set a little wider. The tackle would set a little deeper. The tackle would rewind, grab the end. The guard would rewind and chip the hell out of the nose and decleat them. And that was way better than popping the guards and doing all this other crap and, telling the tackle he had like 2 guys and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, I don't, all that, it's all good. It's all wonderful. It's just, boy, I don't know. Like when I see 5 open sets, empty with 5 open.
5-man protection.
5-man protection with 5 open receivers, 5, nobody blocking. I'm like, no back with a sniffer, and that sniffer's maybe chipping somebody, or you bring a wide receiver. I've seen them chip with wide receivers. They decleat guys, but I don't want that. You go here, and if that guy drops, you got to come across the formation. That quarterback's getting fucking drilled. Sorry about that. Anyway, that's a different thing altogether. Let me just go go to the next thing. Do we understand the scrape paint thing? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. You compliment. You're scraping paint off the door. You're traveling in parallel. And I said to the kids, are you close enough to put your arm around that guard if you're the tackle, or you're close enough to put your arm around the center? Then you're close enough. Okay. The jitterbug, though, I do want to show you the jitterbug. Now, everybody sees this on my videos and they get confused. What I did was I took just a bunch of movements and I put them together, and we did it with a meatball. So, we have a tennis ball, okay, and I would say, okay, everybody, open your right leg up. Okay, good. Okay, brace. Okay, we didn't call pass protection a brace, but it looks like we're pass protecting. Brace, and don't shift. You see how I shifted my weight? Okay, brace. Don't shift your weight. Don't shift your weight. So brace, replace, rewind. Weights on the inside foot. Shuffle. Weights on the inside foot. The closed leg. Hammer. So it was just a drill. Brace, replace, rewind, shuffle, hammer. We just did that over and over and over again. And what it taught them was to keep their weight between their feet, okay? And taught them to move their feet before they move their weight and not spill out of the big tree, basically, the big tree. Okay, so you want to see that again, or you think you got it?
Do it again, Coach.
I'll show you again. I can't believe I can do it. I got a new hip and I need another one. Brace.
Yeah, you look good, Coach.
Rewind. Shuffle, hammer. So they did a lot of things at once. Then we would just switch and say, okay, open the left leg. Do the same thing the other way. And it taught them not to spill, which I think is really important. Okay. It's just a drill. It's not a block. It's just a drill. The other thing, now I'm going to talk about two things for strengthening the legs. You ever hear of the Groucho walk?
The Groucho, no.
Groucho Marx,
I know Groucho Marx, yeah.
Okay, so you remember how he used to walk? He used to walk like this.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm condensing. I'm taking steps. I'm not letting my head, I'm walking under a glass pane, and I'm not letting my head pop up and break the glass. Okay? And I'm trying to have internal rotation, because internal rotation is very important when you're on one leg. Okay? So I'm internally rotating. I'm doing like pigeon-toed, and I'm just trying to keep my knees bent, and it's for strength. It's a strength thing. It's called the Groucho walk. I do it every time I lift. Then the other thing for strength was a couple of things, but the other thing I want to talk about is the horse, like you're riding a horse, the horse stance. And this is a martial arts thing. What you're supposed to do is get your feet measured out. You do something like this, then that. And all you want to do is, like you're sitting on a pole, put your hands out, and just sit there. It strengthens your legs. And then the third thing is the shikos. You know the sumo wrestlers? Okay, so they're big old fat guys, but they squat down, and then they pick their legs up and they stomp them. Okay? Okay, and you're supposed to go like this. Okay? That's called the shiko. And that strengthens the legs pretty good. I mean, I do those three things every day. Every day I lift. And I would have my kids do it in pregame. So that's what I got for you today.
Thank you, Coach. If anybody's got any questions, put it in the chat for Coach. He's going to take a little break. He'll probably be back next week. Coach McNally is really turning it up on Twitter, Coach. Let me see.
I think I'm going to
get back on Twitter, Coach.
No, I'm not doing any Twitter. I'm not doing Twitter. I'm arguing with some guy that's in his underwear, in his mom's basement or something like that.
Yeah.
Football. The thing about football, when you're doing this and you have a visual,
Yeah.
it's one thing. But when you're typing, like we were on with me, Jim, Callahan, and Scott Peters, and you're trying to type, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Keep
it's
that
a
Twitter
lot.
stuff.
I mean, because Coach McNally types a lot.
Well, he's good at it. I'm not.
He is.
You know,
okay.
like people do with their thumbs, like this.
Yeah.
I go like this.
One finger at a time.
One finger, and it doesn't matter if I'm on the laptop or I'm on the phone. I just can't do it. I have this thing where you can talk, but when you use words like Gallup and the computer puts some other word, and then you have to. I don't want to do it. Yeah. So I'd rather just do some my little videos, and I probably won't do too many. I haven't done too many of those because I'm not coaching. I had no film. I appreciate you using our film or my film on the last two, and it's nice to be able to clarify or whatever, because some of that stuff there's no audio, and the game film I actually narrated a game video with another guy, and every once in a while I get like $15 from CoachTube, but I have a video that's had 50,000 hits, and I'd like to narrate.
YouTube or CoachTube?
Huh?
On YouTube or CoachTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's Tight Zone. The Tight Zone. It's like got over 50,000 hits. Wow. And I'd like to narrate that sometime.
That's on your channel?
Yeah. It's called Tight Zone. It's intercut. There's like 50 plays on there. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I see it, Coach.
Well, I don't know.
And are you going over that? Is your voice on that one?
That would be a long session. And
so the hour and 16 minute one has got 12,000. There's another one's got 59,000. So but all these intercut clips, none of them have your voice. You're not coaching through any of it.
No, I'll do things like this, and I'll talk about the things, and then you can see them on the video. But I'd like to. I have like 200, just short of 200,000 hits on all my videos. I got like 100 videos, but some's game film and some's me talking, and there's very little where I'm narrating plays. But I don't know. There's so many things I would do different.
Like what?
Well, I think that I would, if I was back at Ball State, I'd bitch until we move the tight zone read to the backside guard, to the backside center, the backside leg of the center, and I would that would be one thing I'd do different.
And that's if the running back is next to the quarterback.
Yeah, sidecar. Yeah, but even if you're running duo, we ran pistol read at Lewisburg, and
is the quarterback off the midline, or is he opening up to it?
You always get off Let's just say
Colin Kaepernick.
Let's say the left side, like Colin Kaepernick. The left side's the veer side, and the right side's the dig side. So the quarterback's going to open this way to the veer side and read the overhang, or he's going to read the end. So they're veering, and I'd run pistol now, because I'll tell you what, when you're in the sidecar, if you don't have a running quarterback, they mug you. We used to hop the back from side to side and then run it, and that worked pretty good. But if you're running C gap from sidecar, and they know, like I did a quality control one time, and we ran like it was 4 games that I charted, and the quarterback ran the ball 2 times. after a while, people figure that out. You're like,
Yeah.
backs to the left, they're going to the right. And so you're trying to run counters and stuff back, but you're still not threatening the perimeter. So you got it. I thought the RPOs were going to help, but we had a little trouble. The throwing part was okay. The catching part was a little rough because sometimes the ball wouldn't be there, or the guy would drop it, or it didn't work. Anyway, but I like the pistol now. The problem with the pistol is pass protection. The guy's useless. But if you have a mugger or something like that, just move him. Everybody knows it's third and long. Or me, I'd rather go empty with the back, put him out. So you have 4 open with a sniffer, and the sniffer is now the protector. Teach him how to do it. It's easy.
Yeah.
And you motion him around, and he can chip and do all this other stuff. And, when we had the back in sidecar, though, we could give the back coast to coast, and it saved our ass a lot. Like we'd say, okay, you got this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. And, it's not like a guard trying to take 2. The back's back there, and, he sees this and sees that, or he knows where to look. We did a good job training the backs. Every place I was at, picking that stuff up. We're pretty good at that. But
who is the best at it right now? Is it the Ravens? Are they the best? Are the Ravens the best at having the guy in the pistol?
Who?
The Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Who's the best at putting the running back in the pistol and running their offense?
I don't know.
The Ravens.
I think that in the NFL, very very few people put him in the pistol. The Ravens did, but they weren't going to sit there and drop back pass 15, 20 times a game. They were going to run the quarterback. I think that
Coach McNally, he studied the Ravens.
Well,
he told me that. That was when I met him, who he was studying was Greg Roman's offense. But I don't even know where Greg Roman's coaching now.
I think he got hired somewhere, but it was pretty good offense, but it was basically the dude,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that guy was unbelievable. And they had the sniffer. The guy was a defensive tackle at Maine, and he weighed 300 pounds. That's a dude, man. You can be in the pistol. I think you can do it in sidecar too, but you can be in the pistol with the sniffer on the right,
mm-hmm.
duo to the left, and that sniffer will get there. He won't. If you keep that thing tight, he won't have any problem with getting in front of the back. And I don't know. I got a Lewisburg tape. You can watch that. It's on my YouTube. And,
it is okay.
Yeah, you see the sniffer. You see the sniffer and the pistol back. That's all we did. That was good. I like it, but he can't. He's not a threat for. He's not a threat receiver. He's not a threat blocker. He's just move him up if you see a blitz coming. I don't know, but
mm-hmm.
I would do more pistol, and we basically we invested a lot of time with tight end on the line, and watching guys like I don't even know what they're doing at Minnesota, but when they were at Western Michigan, that they had that sniffer, and he was like a linebacker, and he was like 220 pounds, and he would shatter people. Like he'd come across the formation and just blam. He would just blap defensive ends, and but they were getting a double team. That's the key to that stuff. Tight zone, gotta get a double team, and that's why we skip into a double team now. And it's not like a hip to hip vertical push double team. It's like this. It's at an angle. Yeah, that hip to hip stuff you get run throughs from the backside. And
mm-hmm.
the inside guy might have his leg open to it, but he's got so much push up he can't get to the linebacker. We'd rather do that, and if the linebacker goes over the top, just hug the double team. You gotta get movement though. Like, why double team if you're not getting movement?
If I'm the front side guard on inside zone, I'm playing left guard and we're running inside zone to the left, and you're the center and you're uncovered. Would I? I mean, it's probably not.
I'm starting to lose you, but here's what we would do. Okay, so
Would both of our inside foot be up?
What we would do is we would first we're always going to call the front, and to me there's only 3 fronts. There's 3 down, 4 down, 5 down.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to hear nothing else. That was it. So if you were uncovered center, you're probably 4 down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what we said was the ball is going. If the center's moving to the left, the ball is going. It's aiming for his right cheek as he's in his stance. So that side is double teaming that remaining defensive tackle. And the left guard is going to shoulder roll and dig, and the center is going to hammer. He's going to open his leg up and hammer. Okay?
Yeah.
He'll skip to hammer if he's a guard. We didn't have the center skipping because of the shotgun. I'd say to him, if you want to try it. And it's easier than trying to get to the C gap. So if he could do it, he would move the far leg. But if not, he'd just kind of go over. He'd just take a deep step, make sure there's no spike. He'd take a gator step, make sure there's no spike, and hammer. And it wasn't like as nice as the hay bale, with the cow tip, the skip step. But I had a center I had one at Lewisburg that could do it. And I had a center at Ball State that could do anything. He could do a backflip. I mean,
Coach McNally showed me him.
He was 6'1". He had arms he looked like a chimpanzee, and he was smart as hell. He was the best conditioned player on the field, and he's 300 pounds. But yeah, he got a tryout, but he was too beat up. He just didn't want to do it. He's a smart guy. So.
Well, Coach, thank you for coming back on. I can't wait to have you back.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. And I enjoyed these 3 sessions. I think you got to move on, get somebody else. But,
I'm working on getting Scott Peters, Coach. If I can get Scott Peters, that'll be big. And then keep having Coach McNally, and then our buddy in West Florida are going to come on, and the coach at Bryant's going to come on. So there's a lot of good lines.
Try and get the guy from James Madison.
Okay, yeah, I'll hit him up. If you got his number, Coach, text him for me.
Okay,
well, I'll hit him up.
I'll give you his number.
I'll text him, Coach.
I can text him for you, but I'll give you his number. His name's Damon Wabluski. He's pretty good, and a lot of guys that I coach are now off their coaches, so it's kind of interesting. But I appreciate it, and hey, stay condensed. I don't know.
Stay condensed.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, stay condensed. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Hey, thank you.